Good evening. Thank you for tuning in. Please stay tuned for our headlines. It's coming up next. And then also after that, we will have in studio Ambassador, who is an activist for Okahandja, Mr. Johannes Gerub Gaseb. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Evening Review. My name is Jemima Beatrice, your host for this evening. Now, we all know that Okahandja has made the news in the last few months for all the wrong reasons. Corruption in the council, councils being suspended, and all of this was born out of the struggle for land. Now, we brought to the studio today one of the community activists in Okahandja who's pushing for land ownership in Okahandja. Thank you for joining us, Mr.
Yes, thank you very much.
Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Ambassador Gerub Gaseb. I'm a land activist for Okahandja, Promised Land. Yeah, I'm an activist as ambassador. We are calling ourselves ambassador in Namibia because we believe we are ambassadors in a foreign country called Namibia because we are landless. Because we don't own any land. So as an ambassador, if you are assigned all over the world, you don't own a piece of land. You're just there, you just go there and deliver back. So what our mandate by the masses and by the majority is to make sure that the land is returned to the masses for free of charge.
Okay. Now, Mr. Gerub, can you please tell me what has pushed you onto the forefront, pushing and asking for, demanding for land?
Basically, I'm not landless. First of all, I'm employed. I bought my piece of land through the bank. I'm owning a piece of land. So, as an activist, when this group of people called Promised Land, they started this committee. I'm not part of the committee. I'm just happens to be the spokesperson. They actually do a good job by headhunting the best spokesperson and the best agenda pusher, actually. Yeah.
Now, I see on your T-shirt there is hashtag Promised Land. Can you tell us how did this idea, where did it come from?
Jamila, I did explain that for the last time I was here, but for the benefit of the new viewers, I will explain. Promised Land is actually started as a committee to advocate for the land, for the landless. Basically, we started in May this year. We are currently maybe less than 2 months old. But because of the prevailing COVID-19 situation, most of the committee members, they were employed and they were retrenched. So once they were retrenched, they were told to leave, vacate their places that they are renting. So they went to look for the place. They went to look for a place where they can put up a shack and stay with their family. So on a Monday morning, at least 3 or 4 of them, they just decided, unknowingly, they went to this place that is an open piece of land, which we are currently calling Promised Land, and then they were just walking around there, and then they asked a few questions, how are you, good morning, what are you doing here? The other one said, I'm looking for the land, and we're looking for So that's how they start, and then they start, okay, let's take the land, let's clean, and then let's build the motherland.
And prepared for them to live on.
Yeah.
Now, recently the governor said that people living in Vyfrand camp in particular will be allowed to take pieces of land, and they will receive title deeds for this. And a week later, there was a turnaround. Council accused people of grabbing land. Can you please explain to us, what do you make of this situation as a committee? What do you make of what has happened there? Have you reached out to the governor about what has happened following his promise?
Thank you very much for that question. The governor, from the beginning, he was involved in this promised land. Basically, promised land, when we started, we approached him, and through him, we managed to speak with the minister. So when we are addressing the minister, we asked the minister to uplift the then moratorium that was put in place in 2014 by the then minister. So we sit down and we explain to the minister our position as a promised land. We are not a political association, a committee. By that time we were a committee. And then we are just advocating for the piece of land, 300 square meter for each and everyone, because there's a huge piece of land available in Okahandja. We know for sure in our campaign we found out that the land that we are fighting for was sold already by the town council employees. But since we sit on the table of the minister, and the CEO was there, the town council, the caretaker was there, the town planner was there, all the stakeholders was there, including the Promised Land Committee and other committees that are also advocating for the land, and also land activists, the ones from Okahandja. So on record, we took a principled decision that the minister will lift the moratorium so that people will be given a land. Because for the past 6 years, no one in Okahandja bought a piece of land according to the moratorium, and no one has sold the land or buy the land. That was the fact on the table. So when we went back, because that day there were like 3,127 plots were made available for the redistribution for the landless. However, it was discussed also in that meeting that the town council need to sit down with the committee so they can identify those ones that need the land on an urgent basis, on the need basis. Those ones that are sleeping in the street, those ones that were retrenched by the COVID-19, on the need basis, not just because you want a piece of land, you just have to piece together them. So when we went back, we decided to clean those plots while we are waiting, because on that same day, the ministry make funds available for the service. It was like 500,000 something, which is not really enough to service at least 3,127 plots, including business plots, urban there. So we went back, but we had agreement that the governor will go and make an announcement on the 24th. By the time that we went to the 24th, because we had to schedule this meeting because it's a big announcement, when he arrived on the 24th, he forgot about us who started this campaign, who us who make sure that this moratorium was lifted. He associated us with, apparently we are members of certain political parties like LPM and UDS and what. So he sidelined us. He did not even recognize us as committee members that have pushed for this land agenda to that limit. So when he went to announce this, he just make it as his own, like he's the one who convinced the minister to uplift the moratorium, while it was not the case. It was our efforts and our week, because we did it for more than 3 weeks before that, so that we make sure that the government is aware of the land situation. So it was very easy for the minister to uplift this thing. So, but for him, he never recognized us. He just wanted to be praised and sing like he's the one who could deliver the land. So so after he decided to elect a committee there on a public platform. On a public platform, you are just deciding to put a box. People must throw in their name, and then you just throw like a lucky packy. But you understand that the land is a very sensitive issue. People must have at least have a basic understanding to articulate between the right and the wrong. You cannot just put in the names and just select this is the committee. And then you are calling it the governor's committee. Hence we are saying as a local authority act, the governor does not have a right to interfere in the local authority operations, particularly when it comes to the land. You understand? Even as a regional authority act, there is no way that he needs to consult or to appoint a committee, call a meeting, while there is a town council, democratic elected town council, which is kept for Okahandja, the one is suspended. So all these things. So the next day, that day he just played us politics, straight politics. We decided, guys, seriously, we came this far. Imagine. And then the moratorium was left. So we were just found that the governor just throwing egg on our face. So the next day, we were disappointed. Imagine we registered the people. Prior to that meeting, we registered people. We took our own computer. We took our own resource. We went there clean, and then we make sure we collect IDs. We collect up to like 4,500 people by that time. So we can create a master list. Because we were made to understand that the town council does not have a master list because the computer crashed. So waiting list. So we did everything that they wanted to know about it. So when they decided to teach us like that, the next day they are calling us to say, no, the governor wants the master list. And then we said, why should we give our effort? You failed to recognize us. You failed to sit down with us as per the minister's recommendation. Why should we give you our master list? So we will call another community meeting because we were mandated by the community. We went back to our members and said, guys, this is what happened. You see yesterday what is happened. Only from our side, there was only one person. But our chairperson decided he's not going to be part of that meeting. He is part of our committee. He is part of Promised Land. So we went back on, I think, on the next day, on the Friday. And then first in the morning, we had the meeting. And the next day, we decided we're going to register Promised Land as a residents association. Why we did it first is because if we could give the land through a dialogue so that our people can get a place to call home, the only way is for us to campaign in November to be on the ballot paper so that we can be elected because we are representing the majority of the voters. And those voters are members of the ruling party, UDF, whatever party that they are. So those people that we have on our system, most of them, they are registered voters. So it was so easy for us. We went back, called a meeting and said, guys, this is the way we wanted to do it. We got the place for you guys to clean. We got the moratorium uplifted. But just to give the land to you, it's very easy. It's difficult now because the whole story has been politicalized because it's election year. So give us the mandate. Give us your voters card. We could easily get those voters cards. Sometimes people take like 2, 3, 1 year to collect all those voters. We got it over 2 weeks. Then we had more than 320 voters cards. So we applied to the ECN. So we are still busy, and then that's how we decided. Because if we can give the land through honest negotiation like we did with the minister, then we have to give the land through the ballot box. You understand? So in November we are on the ballot paper. Those members, currently we are sitting with 7,000 registered voters. Majority of them, so we are asking them, once they go into the ballot box, they need to give us the mandate as Promised Land Committee Association so that we can give the land free of charge to our people. The land is vast, the land is free. We are on record that the town council employees, they have been selling the land. You understand? We got all the information, we got all the evidence. We submitted, I went as a person, not as a Promised Land, I went as my personal capacity as a resident, as a landowner, and as a plot owner, and a rate payer to the town council. I went to open a case against those corrupt councillors that are suspended currently, and the employees that have been selling the land illegally while there was a moratorium. We have all the evidence. We submitted to the anti-corruption, and they're going to investigate in Okahandja. Now, a lot of cases have been made, but it was not this. But this time around, we told the ACC if they are not going to investigate these corrupt individuals, we're going to work from Okahandja. We give them 1 week. Next week, Friday, you will see Okahandja people will foot from Okahandja up to the Office of Anti-Corruption Commission, and we will compile the Director General to investigate Okahandja. If he is not giving us something on writing that day, we will not going to move. We will camp there. Whatever the COVID-19 situation, our people need the land. Our people have been corruptly robbed the land because of those ones that are selling the land illegal. Imagine a town planner is the one who is in the forerunner selling the land left and right. The CEO is selling the land. The councillor is selling the land. Imagine there's no land. The Chinese are owning the land. The moratorium was there for the past 6 years, but we have been seeing people are building, including you. When you go to Swakop or wherever, those flats that you are seeing here by the Cell service station, Those flats have been built for the past, how many, 6 or 8 months. Moratorium, it was only left on the 20th. Now, 20th of July. But people have been building. There have been Chinese buildings popping up all over. So those things they need to investigate. We also know that some councillors have built houses in Favoran, and we have all the evidence. I think we have 2 boxes full of evidence, pictures and stuff like that. And printed emails, communications, and contracts, all those stuff that we have with this currently with Anti-Corruption Commission. So as for the promised land, particularly for me, I'm tired of this corruption. We're not going to allow any more corrupt officials. Once we took over government, and and mind you, we are government in waiting. People are just waiting for us for November to be voted in. So once we get into the town council, we will do a lifestyle audit from the cleaner up to the CEO. Imagine a cleaner is driving a double cab. So that is the type of things that is happening at Okahandja for your.
Now, Mr. Gaseb, you are saying that you are running for
Ambassador
public office.
Gerub.
Ambassador
Gerub.
Ambassador Gerub. You are saying you are running for public office. Now, why, in your view, should the community trust you as a leader when they have, over the years, obviously trusted political leaders who should have sorted this land issue for them, and yet they have failed?
That's a very good question, Jamila. For me, the reason why I'm doing this is for personal. It's nothing personal. Why am I doing this is because I did rent in Windhoek for the past 10 years, 12 years, before I bought a piece of land in Okahandja and built my house. And I've been repeating it again, and I'm going to repeat it today for your new viewers. When I built my house, so the contractor told me that before I was assigned to Rundu for independence celebration, I asked my contractor, how long will it take for you to finish my building? He said, no, 2 weeks. So I rent a container and put it in my yard and leave all my stuff there. So I went out of my work. So when I came back after 2 weeks, he was not finished. So I had no way to sleep that day. I think it was the first day. Yeah, it was Friday, yeah. There was no way to sleep, so I decided I'm going to sleep in one of those rooms that was half done. There were painting smelling, the carpenters were busy, the tilers were busy. Everybody was just wanted to finish. But I just put the mattress there and I just take a blanket and I just sleep. Imagine my sister. For the very first time after 12 years of renting in Katutura and Windhoek, Okahandja, I slept the best, peacefully, like a baby. I slept like 9 o'clock in the evening, and I had to wake up like 12 o'clock the next day after noon. I didn't care about it. I didn't hear any noise. There was no smell. And when I wake up, I feel like light. That's when I realized I was dignified. So that feeling of being dignified, you can only get it once you own your piece of land. Once you are sure I don't have to pay my landlord anymore. So that's from that day I'm sleeping peacefully, and I realized this was the reason why I was being made to pay rent for the rest of my life. I have to, if I have opportunity, I will make sure that I'm a human rights activist. I'm not the only come late. I did this type of things in Jutagos a few years, 2015. I got that town council on their feet. There was one of the councillors that commit suicide because of corruption that are exposed. So it's not the first time that I'm into this thing. It's not like I want to go a public office. If I have to be voted into a public office, better, then I will have an opportunity and I have all the resources to make sure that the people get the land. The land is for free, my dear. 30 years post-independence, we are still talking about land. Look at Dubai, my sister, how developed it is. So if you look at Namibia, we are still talking about land. We were supposed to talk about building and economic and factories and stuff like that, like Dubai is doing. Yet we are still 30 years post-independence after our founding father returned land. Every morning, my sister, you are seeing the land of the brave. Which land are you talking about? You are talking about our motherland. Whose mother's land is that one? I was arrested for land. Whose mother's land is it? So I will compile you, my sister. Stop singing the Namibia land of the brave unless you got the land. In Okahandja, we have decided we're going to take this land and we're going to give our people the land for free. This thing is doable, even if they are 10,000. once we take over leadership in November.
Speaking about November, so are you going to stand as an independent candidate, or are you running on a party ticket?
We are still negotiating. We are still busy with compiling our manifesto. So let me come back to you, and I'll tell you how there is an AGM still happening in October for the Promised Land. We have to elect our leaders. We are a democratic and an open organization. We don't impose ourselves as leaders. We will make sure that it's open transparency. Those ones that want to stand as councillors and leaders, they have to come up with plans, 5-year strategic plan. We don't want to put in candidates like it is currently happening. We don't want to put in candidates that can sing loud, and once they come to this to deliver, particularly when it comes to reading and stuff like that, we want to put people that can articulate, as I said before, and people that can reason. We don't want to put anybody. You don't want to put a poor Gerub in there so that I can be compromised. You understand? Maybe someone come, like let's take an example like the city of Windhoek, 40 million 5G tender. That type of, so if someone comes with a tender and said, please vote for me, this, I will give you 1 million each. So that whole organization will be compromised. We want to put people that understand why they are there first before they think about themselves. Because the mandate that we are given is not the promise that we don't have any voters. Those voters that are going to put us into that office are voters of the ruling party, opposition party, whatever party. Because we need to go and deliver. Because politics failed them for 30 years. We are saying no to politics anymore. We want to put association. Once you are an association, you understand. Let's take an example, my sister. If you go to on Sunday to church, Lutheran church, Catholic church, whatever church that you are, do you know with whom are you sitting next to? So you don't know whether that person is from UTF or from SWAPO or what party they are, but there you are there for only for one purpose, to praise and glorify
His only name.
Yeah. So what also it's the same with Promised Land. We are from different formulation, but we want land. If we don't want, if we can't get land through our political way, let's try something else. Let's make a fire. Let's sit down there and discuss. Let's put in our own people. Let's appoint, because by virtue of putting our councillors, we will make sure that Okahandja people will benefit. The CEO will be from Okahandja. The finance, what. We have qualified people. We have lawyers. We have accountants. All walks of time. We have town planners. So we make sure that our people in the youth, particularly the youth of Okahandja, need to be involved in politics and make sure that we save Okahandja from this political joke of corrupt individuals. It's really pity that if you go to the town council, the employees, how they are behaving, it's like they are top. Imagine when I was released from prison last week, Monday, I'm making a week today, Tuesday, I received a phone call and said, Gerub, please come with Osedu number 1. When I came there, I was told this is the piece of land that the employee of the town council, a cashier, went to fence off a piece of land in a riverbed. Who does that? You know there is this big, huge outcry about land and corruption, ACC is involved, people have been arrested, but yet you go out and then you grab a land and fencing off for yourself. So we informed the CEO, she can't do anything. What does the cashier knows that the CEO is doing? Why can't she not, why does she not get maybe, yeah.
So Mr. Ambassador Gerub, you are saying that you are looking at an association and not a political way. So when you run for office in November, please explain to us how the association will play a non-political role.
As we are on record, my sister, we have been saying that our mandate by the masses is, because we were mandated first before we become an association, to do it through a negotiation, sit down with a minister, governor, or whatever, but that route didn't work. The only route that will work now, we read the Local Authority Act of 1992, and then we realized, no, we could go in as councillors. As councillors, you can actually alienate, you can sell the land, or you can donate. That is the power that you as a councillor is having. Once we go in the office, we will donate that land. We will donate those pieces of pockets of land, because we also know the majority of those lands was sold by the local, by the corrupt individuals. So we'll investigate them. We will do lifestyle auditing. We will do auditing, land auditing. We'll put in a land auditing, and we will compile each and every sale, land that has been sold to be investigated. Hence, we luckily currently the Anti-Corruption Commission is on this way. Since we are on the ground, we are still getting evidence. We are still getting evidence, and we'll make sure that all those illegal dealings, and sellings, and buildings will be exposed, and those ones will be arrested. So we, as association, we have a good, very good, our manifesto that we are planning. We have a lot of good ideas. We have to make so, because the water and electricity is a problem. There's no leadership at the town council. We will make sure that the youth, they are doing nothing. They just so we will take care of the youth. We'll take care of the elderly. We'll take care of also our future leaders. One of the things that we are discussing over the weekend is we are looking at getting a piece of plot, because there are a lot of plots that is owned by farming plots units around Okahandja. I think there are 8 or 9, huge one, where the corrupt or are farming there, and through a proxy, you understand. So we will revisit all those contracts, and we will take those plots back, and we'll create township, a youth township, or maybe our future township, like we'll do a youth hostel, whereby we will build units, flat units, whereby we'll accommodate students from UNAM, NAS, all those students that are suffering currently in Windhoek because of the rate. So we'll make a flat for 500 or 1,000. So we will negotiate with Trans-Namib, you understand, because the railroad is there, railway is there, so that maybe at 6 o'clock in the morning they bought the train, the afternoon they can board it from Windhoek. So those are the things that we are looking at, because those are future leaders, you understand. So we are looking at different, the land is vast. To be honest with you, Okahandja is having a lot of land, and we will develop. There are, obviously, we're not going to give. There are certain land that we'll donate, but certain land we will make it cheap and available for you to afford. If you as a police officer, maybe perhaps you afford 350,000, we will sell the land to you for free, 50,000, and then the 300 you can take it from the bank, and then you can build your house, a proper house. Imagine of a 350,000, what would you buy? The piece of land that I bought is 850,000. Just my land. Imagine the house. So those are the things that we're looking at. There are a lot of things that we're looking at. We want to also get this merit between we want to divorce the merit between the Senorate and the town council, because it's the waste of time. It's too much. It's the electricity is too expensive. Expensive than the Windhoek. We are paying more electricity. And if you look at the Okahandja's rate in Texas, my dear, imagine I'm paying 1,500 for my plot. Just rate in Texas without any water and electricity. So that is too much expensive. I don't know where they are ben matching. It's nothing. We have found out a lot of illegal stuff. Imagine just there is a security company there, and there is no contract. There was no advertisement. The councillors are they are taking that money at the end of the month as their own. It's a lot of. Okahandja is a nightmare. I don't want to talk about Okahandja, but we are waiting for the Anti-Corruption Commission so we can clean this madness. People, they can't even afford to pay their salaries at the end of the month. They have to go through overdraft every month. Even now that they took us to court, they don't have money. They have to go use the government lawyers to take the land grabbers to court.
Now, in conclusion, speaking about the ACC, how far are you with the? So you have a number of boxes now with evidence. How far are you with arranging this, moving the protest into Windhoek? Should they not be?
No. We are. I'm in fact, after I'm finished with you, I'm having an appointment, 4 o'clock. So there we are discussing the way forward, because I'm pushing this agenda. Hence, also there is also the court order.
Yes, the court order.
Yeah, there is a court order that has been served to the community, community of Okahandja. I mean, who does that in the COVID-19 era? They go out and then they got a court order to evict people, while we are facing with an invisible enemy called COVID-19. Who does that in the election year? So they went, they got the government, they through the government lawyers, they went to get the court order. That's not really the final order, it's their prayers.
Yes.
They are praying for the court to grant them opportunity to remove those people that have been staying. By virtue of doing that, because Promised Land, there's on the land that we were arrested for, there's only 5 or 7 ghettos. So whoever give instruction to the government lawyers they didn't do their job. So they want to teach us a lesson. By virtue of that, to remove those 6 people, now they are seeking for all the residents, all those ghettos there. You can drive through 5 rand there. Each and everyone that is illegally occupying the land. Those are close to 3,000 people, my dear. If they have to remove, if they have been granted that order, where are they going to put those people? Just because you want to get rid of this group, now you are damaging the whole community. So we took upon ourselves as Promised Land to raise funds to defend that court order. We're going to defend, we'll make sure everything in our power to defend them. We have the best lawyer and the best advocate. I just came speaking to them. They are excited. They have been following this thing on Facebook or whatever, and they know what to do, and they are the best in Namibia. So we're going to pay that. We're going to raise money, and we're going to pay, the community will pay for this, and we're going to stop that court order, and then we're going to teach them a lesson, because you cannot just be, you cannot say the people must, you are donating plots. The governor just announced he will give plots, 100 plots. Next day, he's taking the lawyer. The minister is taking the lawyer. The other day, he promised these 2 elderly that are staying at Promised Land to sponsor them with building materials. He did not. Later on, I have to build that them a proper check with my own money, while the regional council and the governor promised them. So how now imagine if he has promised the people to build on that land, and now he's standing around a week after he's taking a court order to remove the same people that he promised to build. I don't know what's going on with the governor, with the politicians now. That's why we are saying we are not politicians. We are only an employee of NBC. You know it very well, and I'm not a politician. And the group of people that are the community, they are only landless people. They took our cell phones. They went to our accounts, the intelligence service. They are taking our phone, and they were accusing us of maybe linked to Itula, Dr. Itula. They link us to AR, or there were a lot of speculations. Imagine, even the way we were arrested. We were there at the piece of land, and then they just came, and then they just arrest us and put us into jail. And without even telling us why we were arrested, what is our rights, we just throw in the cell. Women, men, even the bypassers, the guy was passing by. They were also arrested just for passing by the field. The next day we are in court. The next day we were charged for illegal land grab, occupying illegal land and building a shack. We were arrested on the 14th. On the 15th we were charged. When you are charged, there is a warning statement that you are signing, and then you give your fingerprints, and then you have been told your rights, why you are charged starts. So we were told on the 15th we are going on Monday, which is to the court on which is the 17th. So when we arrive in Monday in the court, we sit there the whole day, and we don't know what, because we know for sure. Because once you open a case, you must bring a proof of ownership. So by the time they opened the case, the town council didn't provide a proof of ownership. So the police were calling them to bring the proof of ownership, because they were told if they don't bring it by 5 o'clock, they will have thrown the charges. Since it is politics involved, they only bring a card, town card, as a proof. So the prosecutor, she didn't want it to, and then when we went to the court, 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the evening, it's like we were doing like a bail application. It's your first time appearance, you go in and you got bail and then you go home. You understand? But we sit in the cell at the court for the whole day waiting for the town council to bring the ownership of the piece of land. But we are sure that that piece of land that they would charge us, they sold it already, they don't have anything. So 5, 6 o'clock they brought that thing. So the prosecution decided they're going to change the charges. Imagine you go into the court and you have been told, no, the prosecution is telling the judge, no, these people are charged for trespassing. Now I'll just pick up a hand and said, Your Worship, initially we were arrested for principal charge of illegal land grab and occupying a piece of land and building a shack. None of us has built a shack there. And now yet we have been told in the court, after we wait the whole day, like 10 hours in that cell, that we arrested for trespassing. Imagine you have been arrested for, let's say, for breaking in Shoprite. You understand? So for housebreaking, you have been charged. By the time that you go to court, they are telling you, no, you have been charged for shoplifting or chocolate or something. It is a mere easier charge, you understand? Lesser charge. But the bail is enormous. It's 3,000 for trespassing. Who does that? Just trespassing in a public location, like imagine you go into Komasdal. You have been found by the police in Komasdal and then they arrest you for trespassing. Public place where public roads, people are staying there, there's a hospital, there's what. Who does that in Namibia? And for 3,000, and then we said, no, we can't afford 3,000. We don't have money. People that are here, they didn't do anything. No, you're not supposed to interfere with the investigation. You're not supposed to go there. But it's a public place. You understand? So I said, I'm not going to take that 300. And then they come down with 500, the judge. And then they put the conditions. If you go there, we'll arrest you. If you interfere there, and then I said, what is there in that piece of land? It's just bushes and there's nothing, and these few 2 or 1 free ghettos. Even if I go, whatever interfering, there's no witnesses there, there's no evidence there that I might this, because there's only trees. So it was for me, I said, if that is the scenario, just you take your bail, I will go back to prison, because it was a trap for me. Once they release us on 500 bail, and once we go there, they arrest us, and they will deny us bail until the end of the election and all those. So they just postpone it. Your whole career, my work, my political career, whatever, is just destroyed like that. So I took a principal decision. I'm not going to agree for that. And then they denied me bail. I went back to prison. I sit for 10 days. After 10 days, I make a bail application. There was another prosecutor. He understand. And then they gave me the same 500 bail. And then the conditions were removed. Now I can easily go there, and you understand? Now I'm free. Even those people that are staying there, I built from my own pockets a decent safe for those people. And those people, we, as a social responsibility, as promised, that we feed them, we give them food, water, and all those stuff. So they wanted to silence us. They couldn't get that right. Week after, I got the court order. Now, what politics is that? It's promised land is not a party yet even. But people are so afraid of promised land. And we are achieving, every day we are learning on the job. We are not politicians. We learn to change our phone cards. When we are making phone calls to important people, we are using different numbers, and we are learning things like that, because in the latest service is on this guy. When I was arrested, it was like 10 to 15 compis, like the most hardcore criminal, the whole of Okahandja. When I was, that Friday, the Inspector General was in Okahandja, trying to control the situation, moving from his office to Okahandja. It's a small group of people. None of them, they are not politicians. All they need is the will. We don't have the money, my sister. We don't have a sponsorship. We are not linked to any corruption case, official or not. The only thing that we have is the will and the power and the protection from the Almighty.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador. And thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.